Welcome to our reflection for the fourth Sunday in Lent. Our Lenten theme this year is Roll Away the Stone. We invite you to take a moment to settle your spirits and calm your mind by taking some deep breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. We welcome you wherever you are on your journey. Reverend Kate Tucker returns to St. Joan of Arc today to speak on Roll Away the Stone. We are healed. Kate is Associate Minister Emerita of First Universalist Church, Minneapolis, where her focus was spirituality, pastoral care, and small group ministry. In retirement, Kate serves as a spiritual director and takes part in a variety of local ministry projects. We welcome her back to our community with love and gratitude. Welcome, Kate.
First, these words from Ursula Le Guin. A person who believes that things fit, that there is a whole of which one is a part, and that in being a part one is whole, such a person has no desire whatever at any time to play God. Good morning, St. Joan of Arc community. It's good to be with you at any time, and especially at this time of tumult and tenderness and disruption and distancing. Weeks ago, you chose for this Lenten Sunday the topic of healing, and we couldn't have known back then how large the theme would grow until now. It's the global theme, healing. To heal means to make whole. A couple weeks ago, I sat in a waiting room, and there beside me on a low table, along with the daily paper and the People magazine, was a whole magazine devoted to organizing our living spaces. The magazine was called Best Ever Storage Solutions. The headline was 50 Innovative Ideas for Corralling the Chaos in Every Room in Your House. It said storage solutions for your bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, entryways, workspaces. Start today. There were 30 or 40 pages of ideas and illustrations. Don't let magazines and mail pile up. File them in cardboard magazine caddies. Spray paint metal pails in happy colors to hold your laundry supplies. Make use of that empty space behind your sofa by snuggling a small bookcase in there. Hang a clear shoe bag on a pantry door and use the compartments to store all those little things, birthday candles and garden seed packets, corks and lids. Put spare blankets in an old suitcase and slide it under the bed. Storage solutions, bins, boxes, baskets, and shelving. Corralling that chaos, how I admire that. Organizing and categorizing our stuff so we know what it is and where it is. This can be so helpful in the outer world, but not always so helpful to do the same thing in our inner world, to keep things in here bagged, tagged, and stashed. It's so tempting, so natural, though, to keep shelves marked for religious beliefs, education level, age groups, income, political parties. The mind loves an inner storage solution, maybe partly to help us avoid the messiness of being alive, the chaos of consciousness, the untidiness of change. Maybe I've had only 2 shelves for personal pronouns, he or she. You go by they or by ze. Where do I put that? Maybe I don't have a shelf for that yet. Or maybe I have just 3 file folders, maybe a white one, a black one, a brown one, for something we have come to call races. Maybe 2 bins only for citizen or alien, sick or well, ignorant or enlightened. Storage solutions so useful in the material world, not often that useful in the realm of healing, not so helpful for the aliveness, for the wholeness of the soul. So today's gospel story from the Gospel of John starts like this. As he walked along, Jesus saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" The disciples, these learners, were looking for a storage solution Who sinned, this man or his parents? Apparently they had two shelves, one for sinners, one for sin-free, and the sinner shelf had at least two boxes, current sinner or descendant of sinner. They were wanting to play God a little bit, or at least hoping to be God's insiders, to be in the know about who misbehaved and caused this. I know that feeling, that urge to pin it down. Who forgot to use hand sanitizer? Who didn't cover their cough? I want to press the teacher, the politician, the doctor to tell me exactly who did what to bring on whatever the problem, poverty, cancer, crime, addiction. Give me a thing or a person or a food or a chemical or a corporation or a nation to blame so I can box it, label it, and then stand clear of that box and put my anxiety to rest. In this gospel story, Jesus doesn't seem very interested in the disciples' question. Jesus says, neither this man nor his parents sinned. And besides, and I am paraphrasing here, this is not about finger pointing. This is about using my time on earth to bring light. So Jesus spits on the ground. I love that mother mammal thing he does, like a mom using a little spit to clean baby's cheek. And he mixes his spit with the earth under their feet. And Jesus puts that holy mud on the blind man's eyes and invites the man to go wash in the pool, and the man does, and he's given sight. Jesus is less interested in assigning blame and more interested in action. He acts, he does something, then the blind man does something, and the result is vision. The story goes on. There's lots of grumbling from bystanders and judgment from the crowd. I won't attempt to unpack that part today, but I do feel qualified to comment on the disciples' question because in my way I try to be one, and I know that drive to have the tidy storage solution. Which bucket, sinful or sin-free? I want to keep this categorized, organized, because clutter makes me feel vulnerable, human. Makes me remember that I'm a fragile, breathing animal held upright for a brief time on this vast, curved, spinning globe, this original storage solution, the one that holds all our stuff. Those Apollo astronauts, you may remember, saw the truth of it and reported back. Edgar Mitchell of Apollo 14 said, suddenly, from behind the rim of the moon, in long, slow-motion moments of immense majesty, there emerges a sparkling blue and white jewel, a light, delicate, sky-blue sphere laced with slowly swirling veils of white, rising gradually like a small pearl in a thick sea of black mystery. And from astronaut James Irwin, as we got further and further away, the Earth diminished in size. It shrank to the size of a marble, the most beautiful you can imagine. That warm, living object looked so fragile, so delicate, that if you touched it with your finger, it would crumble. And from William Anders, we came all this way to explore the moon, and the most important thing is that we discovered the earth. Earth and ocean, spit and mud, the living space we all share, this warm, living object in need of our care. A viral pandemic reminds us, shifting climate patterns remind us, interlaced commerce reminds us, immigrating populations remind us, Jesus reminds us, and reminds us not to get derailed by the blame game, but walk to the healing waters and clear our own vision and open our hearts. I got a phone call from an old college friend. She said, Kate, I've had this thought and it won't go away, so I think I need to say it. It's about religion. She said, maybe for a few thousand years, humans needed a God who was a strong parent. And maybe then they needed one who was a friend and peer, Jesus. But now I think it's time for God to be a child. And not a child who has to grow up to become a redeemer, but rather a God who needs us to be a good parent. I said, it's funny you should say that, because recently I watched an old movie called The Big Kahuna. And in this movie, toward the end, there's a scene where these two men, longtime traveling colleagues in the industrial lubricants business, are sitting up late in a hotel room, quietly talking. The older man, Phil, played by Danny DeVito, has grown wistful, but also patient and wise through his life of hard knocks. Phil says to his friend Larry, "When I was a kid, I had a dream about God. I dreamt I found him hiding in a closet in the middle of a burnt-out city. The city was destroyed by fire or some kind of explosion, and there in the middle of it was a coat closet standing there all by itself. And I walked up to the closet and opened the door, and inside was God, hiding. I remember he had a big lion head, but I knew it wasn't a lion, it was God, and he was afraid. And I reached out my hand to lead him out of the closet, and I said, 'Don't be afraid, God. I'm on your side.' And we stood there, the two of us holding hands, looking out over the destruction. And then Phil says, 'I don't know why, but I've always had this haunting feeling that I had some kind of mission here on earth.' This God Phil describes, the God who hides out in a burnt-out city, this God is no big kahuna. Beneath the king of the jungle disguise, this God is like a child, fragile, in need of a hand to hold. Phil, the industrial lubricants rep, may not be able to say what his mission is, but you get the feeling that he has lived it, maybe standing in solidarity with the fearful. In an article by environmentalist Garrett Kaiser, Kaiser addresses the question, how shall we respond to people who are outspoken enemies of environmentalism? He's addressing environmental issues, but his answer applies more broadly. He reminds us that we're called to love our enemies, but how can we do that? He says, if we want to know how we can best love our enemies, we might ask ourselves, well, how would we best hate them? Then he reminds us of an ancient Greek drama, the tragedy we call Medea, first performed 4 centuries before Jesus appeared. He says, in the play, Medea asks the question, how can we best hate our enemy, and comes to the conclusion that the best way to hate her enemy is to destroy his children, and so she murders her cruel husband's sons, though they are her sons also. Kaiser says, to love our enemies in the most extreme and radical way is to love their children, to fight our enemies' short-sighted policies and practices so that their children can enjoy a world of clean air and drinkable water and renewable land and health. And he concludes by saying, the one who seeks to save her soul even as she fights to save the earth will answer when asked what she is fighting for, I am fighting for the children of my enemies. End of quote. To be honest, I don't like the image of fighting at all. I'd rather just love fiercely, as your Julie Madden puts it. I'd rather just act in whatever small ways I can to keep things whole. Because from very close up or from very far away in time or in space, there's really no over there, there's just here. And there isn't really even any them. There's just us. And all the children, the young ones, and also the grown-up ones, they're just ours. I'll close with excerpts from Lynn Unger's poem titled Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down, and when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that you are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart. Reach out your words, reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Blessed be and amen.
Kate requested this special song from Anne Reed, Where the Earth is Round. Thank you, Anne Reed, for sharing your music with us today.
From here I can see that the earth is round, blessed by the bones in the sacred ground. I can see where the rivers flow, they flow. I can touch the brilliant sky, the sun and the moon and the northern lights. Oh, the dancing stars, they feel so close. And I am here because of souls who walked before and called this home. Bowed their heads on a trail of tears falling down, and now today they're resting here within this place where the earth is round. From here is the scent of seasons change, before the snow and after the rain. Leaves releasing, waltzing with the wind. I hear the sound of magic, old balloons calling out, and my heart is full. Sounds of where I am and where I've been. And I am here because of souls who walked before and called this home. Bowed their heads on a trail of tears falling down, and now today they're resting here within this place where the seasons change. Lakes reflect the sky. Sky holds our dreams, tumbles down in light. From here I can see that the earth is round, blessed by the bones in the sacred ground. I can see where the rivers flow, they flow. I can touch the brilliant sky, the sun and the moon and the northern lights. All the dancing stars, they feel so close. And I am here because of souls who walked before and called this home. Bowed their heads on a trail of tears falling down, and now today they're resting here within this place where the earth is round, where the earth is round.
As we conclude this Lenten reflection, We can think of the Jewish Sabbath, as Kate mentioned, or think of this time as a deepening of our Lenten fast. We are being invited into the darkness of the womb, not the darkness of the tomb. And so this time can be used more deeply for reflection and prayer. Church services are wonderful opportunities to gather as community and reaffirm our faith, but we're being called to fast from those experiences now. As difficult as we find it to socially distance ourselves at a time when we most desire the comfort of others, let us recall that Jesus went into the desert for solitary reflection at the times he faced his hardest challenges. God is with us everywhere, and therefore we are never alone.